Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Fun Fans Podcast. I'm your host, James Diller. With me, as always, my co-host, Bailey Jackson. How you doing, Bailey?
I'm doing well, James. Just got through watching the selection show, so ready to talk about that. And glad the Tigers are headed to Memphis next
Headed
week or this
to
week.
That's right, Graceland, baby. Can't wait. 6 is our favorite number right now. Obviously, we got a special guest on here if you're watching with the video, and we'll get to him in a second. And it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster, and we're going to discuss a lot about Clemson basketball. But we're going to let the good times roll as we are right smack in the middle of this March Madness. And, of course, we'll catch up with all of Clemson's other spring sports. But first, the Fun Fans are a proud part of the Fanboys Fangirls Sports Podcasting Network. If you're a true sports fan, the Fanboys Fangirls is perfect for you. Find various nationwide podcasts and other sports media at thefanboys.com and all forms of social media. The Fun Fans Podcast is the official podcast for Clemson fans.
And we need to mention Ruben's Food, Sports, Spirits, and Catering, the best wings around, with 2 locations in the upstate, 1083 Batesville Road in Greer and 11028 Anderson Road in Piedmont. You can find them at rubensc.com. Rubens is simply a great place to eat for all sports fans.
All right, so obviously we have a special guest with us tonight. I'm excited about having Mr. Mobley here for multiple reasons, and I said finally have him on the show because I met him about 9 or 10 months ago at Wayne Buckingham's tailgate, the Orange and White weekend, and I was introduced to him by, we'll say, a common high school mate, Bubba Britton, because Mr. Craig Mobley, our guest tonight, who is a former Clemson basketball player and also former Chester Cyclone, and there's definitely more to his story than that. He is one of the first 2 African-American scholarship student athletes in any sport for Clemson when he arrived on campus and as an honor student in the fall of 1969. Okay. Wayne Jenkins, was on the track team, but Craig was the first African-American to play basketball for Clemson, played 2 seasons before putting his efforts into his studies. He's an extremely he's got degrees, and we don't have time to talk about everything Mr. Mobley has accomplished, but he graduated from Clemson with a degree in chemistry, which we all know not many people can do. He is a veteran of the U.S. Air Force, so we definitely appreciate his service, and has multiple successful business ventures, as well as done some coaching and refereeing. Currently lives in California. And I think he's got his hand in a few things, but according to the email signature I've seen, he's currently the operations and training coordinator for Cyber Green Group. So please welcome to the Fun Fans Podcast, Mr. Craig Mobley. Craig, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Happy and glad to join you guys.
Well, we're definitely excited to have you.
So tell us how you ended up at Clemson University.
Oh, it started with, I would say, my coach. His name was George Simpson. He actually played for Clemson. So, back in the day before video and the rest, his personal contacts. So he was able to make a contact with Coach Bobby Roberts, told him about my resume, playing days, and see if I fit or not. That happened, and happy to say that I put on a Tiger uniform in 1969 and got to play a little bit. And it was a fun time playing those years there.
Well, that's pretty cool. A lot of, even when Bailey and I first started coaching, a lot of it had to do with the high school coach's connection to a college coach, but that has become, it's still very important, but it's become less and less necessary, I guess, in the recruiting process. So during that time frame, obviously, was the desegregation process. So there has to be a story, one story that everybody needs to hear, and just hoping you could tell us that story tonight.
Well, I credit Chester High School of indoctrinating me, because I had 4 years of playing basketball there at the high school. So I had a chance to learn a lot about different opinions about black and white being on the same team, any sports at all. I had some great teammates, but like everything else, you didn't get a lot of home cooking on somebody else's floor. So there were people who had things to say. And as my teammates remind me, I think I responded by scoring a few more points and winning. So that was basically it. But you get to a point, you look at it as it's not you, so you don't need to be like somebody else. So I didn't care to hate on the floor. I'm playing basketball. Somebody figured that was going to intimidate me. That means they didn't know me that well. But the other part of it is that, as you mentioned, you said your father's a preacher. I grew up in the church, so I didn't grow up with a lot of hate inside of me. So to me, a lot of that was foreign.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. So what about basketball? Who was? I'm curious. Who was the coach at Clemson when you went there?
Uh, Bobby Roberts was the head coach, but if you knew how they set up stuff back then, we had a freshman team.
Right.
So it was Art Musselman was the junior varsity coach. And one of the articles I dug up out of the Tiger newspaper was, here's the team we had. So we brought in our own team that year. We had two 7-footers, a 6'5" guard, damn 6 foot, 6'4", believe it or not, forward. Ron Fenwick was good, Bud Martin, but we came in as a team and we learned to mesh really well. So if anybody ever dug up the real records on us, we actually scored over 80 points a game. We were
Wow.
Wow.
beating people, and there's this rumor that we didn't beat our varsity, but we're going to tell you we did. And from that we did pretty well. So we had some really good memorable games. We took our game into South Carolina that year and gave them a good. They had Roach and I think Riker was his name. The one two
Right.
guys that I know, and we held our own in there. But I also learned a lot about what Frank McGuire was teaching them, like how do you keep other people from not getting a rebound? You step on their foot so they can't jump.
Right. Right.
So
Simple. Yeah.
so this is stuff. So the teammates and I, we probably should be happy. We're all alive still, and we keep in touch with each other.
Oh wow.
That's good. Was David Angel from Rock Hill on that team?
Oh yeah, Dave and I
Yeah.
played in the All-Star game that whatever we were, the Northern squad. We
Right.
won that game. But yeah, Dave and I've been friends since then. He just lost his mother last year, and she was basically my mother of a different color.
Okay.
So, but otherwise, it was a good family thing going back to 1969 with them.
Right. That's neat.
Very good. Yeah, I've had the opportunity to talk with Craig a handful of times at the tailgate and various. He came visited my school recently, and Craig, every time you're introduced by somebody, it seems to be led with the first black or first African American basketball player at Clemson, and to me, that title, I guess you could say, could potentially be heavy for some people, almost like a job or something. But you always, in my opinion, always seem to handle it extremely well with lots of humility. How have you maintained, I'm gonna say, that title with such humbleness over these years?
Again, Chester High School. I would say that I didn't enter Clemson thinking I was first of anything. I was happy to be something, which was in college and on a scholarship, to get there to try to further my education. Somebody was going to be first. In this case, it happened to be me. There were things I think, you would think would not have to be contend with, but the answer, well, you did. And I've been reviewing because you look at it, a lot of change was going on in the United States, not just Clemson or South Carolina. And, briefly, I mean, think about it. In 1968, you had King and Kennedy shot.
Mm-hmm.
You had the 68 Olympics where Black Power was starting to emerge. You had riots everywhere. Oh yeah, and then you had integration of schools that didn't go smoothly a lot of places. So with that, there are a lot of people adjusting, and the social aspects of this, I think they're still being sorted out. But I think the kids today have figured it out a little better than we did, and I think that was part of it's unfamiliarity. People didn't know how to like each other.
Right. Cool. But we appreciate you being here. And whether you're first, you always have that, that's important to me. I think a lot of people, uh, you know, like you say, somebody had to be first. And I think it's important that somebody with your demeanor and personality probably helped the whole situation, from the get go. Just the Lord's work, I guess we could say, for sure.
Yeah, I feel blessed, and I hope my time around people have been the same.
Awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about. Do you? So you're in California. Do you still watch the Tigers every game, or how do you handle that?
Called the ACC Network.
Yep, it's awesome.
Unless
ESPN Plus.
unless they put something on the CW, which I get mad, and I keep
Right.
saying, "Oh man, I gotta go to my
You don't like to see that.
non-subscribed TV to find that." But
Yeah.
yeah, I watch the ACC Network, and I pick up as many games as I can. I wear a lot of Tiger stuff out there in the middle of the Bruins and the Trojans, so I can get all them Southern California people mad, and especially when we beat them,
Yeah.
So that'd be
That's
okay.
right.
Yeah. Well, uh, it would be nice to have more Clemson people out there and have more players coming from that way to Clemson. But what about right now? I mean, it's been look. James will tell you, I'm like one of the number one Clemson basketball fans in the world, and I've been that way since my earliest recollection is like excuse me, like 1980 when they made a run in the NCAA tournament. Um, but since then, I'm all in, even in the good and the bad. But this year's been a little bit of a roller coaster. Started out, had some great wins early, um, and like I told James on this show, the ACC is still the ACC, and there's a lot of good basketball teams in the ACC, and you're going to go through stretches where you're up and down. But what is your message to the fans? That is everybody? There's a lot of people that are excited about the NCAA tournament. There's a lot of people that think, oh, here we go again, and it's going to be a one and done. But tell us about what would your message be to the fans as we get ready to finish up the season?
It's tough because, like you said, I've seen almost every game, the basketball team, and I watch other sports, but obviously I have a great love for the men's basketball team. So you watch the players, and you look for nuances, and I try not to say anything from any point of view except as a referee. And I look at it as saying the players have to adjust to the referee. And in that, I think that's the first few minutes of any game. Some games, I think the guys and early on, I still think they could make a deep run in the NCAA. I think that first game is going to be important to them. Some of their 3-point shooters and some of the guys have been reluctant to shoot. They're going to have to just say, hey, look, I'm good enough. And what's the other thing they used to say on Saturday Night? Like, I'm good enough. I'm nice. Whatever it was.
I'm
But the
smart
point
enough,
is,
and doggone it, people like me.
there you go. Just do that. And then say that basket is big enough,
That's it.
to
That's
just
right.
launch it. So they'll be fine if they go out there saying, look, we're good enough to play with everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. I believe if they hit outside shots and they do a good enough job of getting it inside back outside, um, they could be as good as anybody if they're playing well. They proved that when they won at North Carolina and when they won at Alabama. They beat the Gamecocks earlier in the year. I was at that game, so I'm excited. And the bracket's not ridiculous. There's some good teams, but they do have a chance if they play well. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Well, the
Yeah, I
only
agree.
thing I would add to that is the fact that basketball is getting what you asked for. You asked for it in NFL, you're getting it in college sports now. You're getting parity.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And, so you're starting to see that any team can beat any team. So it's going to be interesting to me. I know the Tigers got the players to do it. So, Yeah, I sometimes say matchups, which I don't know what New Mexico State. I forgot which one.
It's
Yeah.
New Mexico State,
Yeah,
and all I know is they are a very high scoring team.
yeah.
But
And they basically had to win their tournament or a couple games in their tournament to get in the tournament. And they
yeah,
did. They won the Mountain West tournament.
Yeah.
so
Well,
we're
the only thing I would say, don't give up on your Tigers, man. Like I said, don't be surprised if you see them in the Elite Eight.
Oh, that would be awesome.
that would be awesome.
James, have you ever heard me say stuff that he just told us? Have you ever
Yeah,
heard
it's
me
the
say
same.
that stuff?
Yeah. Well, and we're all right if we back up to the ACC tournament, and we've said this all season, and same thing everybody's saying tonight is if they're hitting their shots, and we can play with anybody. If we're not hitting our shots, we can still play with anybody unless they're having like the night of their life. Now we've had some mediocre night and go against somebody that's just unconscious and they're hitting everything. But backing up to the ACC tournament, that's BC. I mean, they were on fire, and we
Yeah, I mean
weren't.
they
I mean,
won the game. I mean, it happens. You play
Yeah.
enough games, you're going to get beat.
And everybody was fussing about Clemson not getting that double bye. Well, look at who won the tournament. The 10 seed, went straight through everybody, beat North Carolina in the championship game. So it's just a matter of who's going to step up and play. And I think that's what happened. Hopefully, Clemson will show some tournament team mentality when they play Friday night. So we'll see how that goes. Number 6 seed against New Mexico State in Memphis. So that's a pretty good. We talk about some fun fan stuff on here. Memphis, are the Clemson fans in or around Memphis that y'all know of? What's that far as a location for Clemson?
Well, they're Tigers too. So the thing is, you got the
There you
Memphis
go.
So we can pull all the people who got Tigers as logos, come in and cheer for the other Tigers. That'll be the thing to do.
There you go. It's only about an 8-hour drive from the upstate, so we might have a decent showing.
Well, I'll tell you this: it was projected earlier today that they could end up in Charlotte, and we were watching. My whole family was watching the NCAA tournament selection show. My daughter's here; she's home this week, and if they were in Charlotte, we were going to be there.
Oh yeah,
but just missed out on that.
Memphis is a slightly different story. I think so. If we win, which we all say we know we can, we'll play the winner of the Baylor. Who's Baylor playing?
Colgate.
Yeah. And I mean, that should be a winnable game as well. If Clemson plays if we play the way we can play, I don't see anything. And I don't know. I say a tournament mentality. I'm sure the coach, we've all coached. It's one game at a time. And even in the back of your mind, it's a 2-game weekend. So it's not like you're trying to subconsciously save up for anything energy wise or whatever. I mean, you're going to go out and leave it all on the court.
So since I don't try to coach, but I will say this from old coaching days: rebound, rebound, rebound. And then the other thing would be, if they don't score, we don't lose. So
that's right.
If you go with that defensive mentality, the answer is, hey, 2-0 is still a win.
That's right.
They don't score.
I agree.
That is right. All right. So real quick, just to finish rounding out talking about the tournament a little bit, our friends down there in Columbia, Craig, we talk about other colleges as much as we can and what is relevant. They're going to be playing Oregon, so they get the Ducks. The Ducks have to travel to the East Coast and play in Pittsburgh. I think, is that a Thursday game or a Friday? Did you happen to notice that?
I didn't get all that. I would have to look at the bracket, but it doesn't matter. The Gamecocks play the Panthers.
The Gamecocks play. I think they have a definitely good shot at winning that one. And any talk about all the other talking heads, they're talking for hours, but we can throw our 2 cents worth in on the number 1 seeds, UConn. is really good. Purdue, everybody's wondering if early exit again. North Carolina, number 1 seed.
Yeah, but they're the number 4, number 1.
So they're the bottom of the top.
They're ranked 4. They are ranked 4th, and the number 1, number 2 seed was Tennessee. So there was a little bit of talk about the difference between those two. I would not want to play Houston after they got smoked in their conference tournament because Kelvin Sampson's been around long enough and he's mean enough to have them ready to go, and they're good on defense.
Yes.
You know, the thing I'm wondering too, I hate to say it, but North Carolina State might have found something by playing 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
And what they probably found was that they have the stamina to do this. So I'm not sure. For my end of it, I'm going to pull for Clemson. And, you know, I'm looking for them to make it to the Elite Eight. And then we'll be seeing all of us again say, how are we going to cheer for them the rest of the way? You know, after that, it'd be nerves and talent.
Yeah,
that's right.
Otherwise, you know, the fans will get what they want. They're going to have a lot of good basketball games. And I think, hate to say it, college is more exciting than the pros.
Love it. Love March Madness. The filling out the brackets, the one and done. It's kind of like, you know, they're trying to do college football where you definitely get the best team. So you got to have some playoffs. We've been through that, and that's still growing. But in basketball, everybody knows any team can beat any team on some given night, maybe, but we still play the one and done single elimination tournament. And I wouldn't have it any other way. That's what makes every game. I'm listening on the radio. They announced they were announcing all the games, and the guy, he was kind of a, I don't know, stick in the mud type, you know, announcer guy. And they even said when, you know, South Carolina is going to meet up against Oregon, if anybody cares about that game. And I'm like, there's going to be millions of people that have filled out their bracket that don't give a hoot about the Gamecocks or the Ducks, you know, outside of this. But they're all going to care about that game because they're going to have either picked South Carolina or picked Oregon, and they're going to want to win that game. Everybody cares about every game. So that's that's why they call it March Madness. It's so awesome.
Yep.
So, and I'm on spring break, so this is going to be great. I don't have to roll the TV into my classroom or anything or sneak watching it on my computer while I'm at my desk or anything. So it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
I just hope they don't spoil it because March Madness has become a phenomenon. And in that, I think it's greater than the Super Bowl because it keeps a lot of the country engaged for several weeks.
Yep.
That's right.
You know, so as long as someone doesn't spoil it, this is one of the fun times in sports.
Yes, it is. And the fun fans have a bracket. I'm putting the link on all of our social media. Craig, you got to enter our bracket. It's free. We're going to give a sampler pack of Dubby energy drink to the winner. And the link's all over the place. So everybody out there, share the link, get in the bracket with us and compete through the March Madness. And before we let Craig go, I got to put this picture up here. So this is his Facebook profile picture with his Chester Cyclones shirt. I mean, that's just he kept bringing up Chester, and there's a lot of good folk and, you know, good stock, I guess you can say, in that town, and it's always good to get back to your roots. And Craig's been gone a long time and still got that shirt on himself and as his profile picture on Facebook. So that's pretty awesome. Wanted to share that.
Well, I appreciate your time, and there's more than just that, because if you go back in history, my whole family's history is Chester and Chester County. So I'm also saying thank you, people, for letting my family grow up there and me getting the chance to get a chance to do stuff outside of Chester. Ain't forgot you, ain't gonna forget you. So do well, Chester. I know we got some tough times, but, you know, it'll get better.
It'll get better. And that's where I met my wife. So like you say, just keep putting in the roots. Well, Craig, we appreciate you being on. We're going to let you run, and me and Bailey talk about some of the other stuff that we talk about, and we'll have to have you on again sometime soon.
Absolutely.
Right. Go Tigers. Clemson Tigers.
That's right. Thanks for being with us.
How cool is that?
Awesome.
All right. Speaking of the W, if you go to w.gg, enter promo code FUNFANS, and you'll get 10% off. But definitely enter our bracket challenge. Links will be all over the place, and you could win the sampler pack. All right. So real quick, just to kind of round out our last bit of stuff, and I typed it in and I don't see it, but I think I might can remember which one. Bailey, did you watch that baseball game today?
No.
It was good. I caught the end of it, went into extra innings, and we ended up taking the series 2-1 at Duke. Duke is a very good, highly ranked baseball team, and we were at their place. So that's a big weekend for Clemson baseball.
And that's why baseball plays a 3-game series.
That's right.
So somebody's going to win it, somebody's going to lose it.
Softball, they may be finishing up now, but they started the third game of the weekend against the Tar Heels at 7:00. Clemson already won the first two, so maybe they're going to get a sweep, but we don't know at this particular juncture. So that's pretty much the update. I think the hockey season's over. The gymnastics season's coming to an end, I believe, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, ACC tournament's coming up. ACC championship. They're the number 2 seed.
Yep. All right. And then the UFL starts this month, and we're going to talk about that later. But just a reminder that my team and Bailey's team are going to square off on Sunday, April 21st. More importantly, football, Clemson football.
Thanks for reminding me who my team was.
I probably had to do that.
The Renegades.
The spring game is April 6th. That's like 2 or 3 weeks away. And you know what the best thing? I don't know if we talked about this much. You can park anywhere. Right. It is a great time to tailgate. Obviously, you can go watch some football and stuff too. But you can if you've always wanted to see what it's like to park in lot 1, go park in lot 1. Lot 5, park in lot 5. Whatever. So just that's pretty cool. So April 6th, and we're looking forward to that. Bailey, you got anything else for the viewers tonight?
Nope. Just excited that March Madness is here. You know, Joe Lenardi spends all year putting out his brackets every week, and now I don't know what he does.
He takes the rest
for
of
a
the
couple
year
months.
Yeah. All right. Well, and is your mom almost won our challenge last year, right?
Yes.
So make sure she puts her brackets in again.
Oh, they will. I promise you.
We got to have and make sure and spread it out so we can get more and more people in there. But all right. Hope you enjoyed the show. We feel really, really blessed to have Craig on the show with us tonight. We are super crunk about Clemson basketball's potential in the big dance. And don't forget to complete that bracket on the Fun Fans. Links are everywhere, and I can smell that spring game right around the corner. So thanks again for joining us each and every Sunday and Wednesday. Don't forget to click subscribe on the Fun Fans Podcast YouTube channel, as well as your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on all social media and share away, please. Reach out if you'd like to become a sponsor. But on behalf of the Fun Fans Podcast, Jay Thrilla Entertainment, the Fanboys Fangirls Podcast Network, and Bailey Jackson.
Hey, we out of here. Go Tigers. And special thanks to Mr. Mobley for being on here tonight. Always great. So go Tigers.
Thanks for listening.